Even Fox News said, okay, we'll call it for Biden. And my first question was, are the votes counted? And the answer was no. Have they finished the tabulation? Have they done the recounts yet? No. Are there legal challenges that are in play right now? And the answer was, yes, there are. So I thought I'd ask my friend Ann Coulter, who I think has had a fraught relationship with some of the men in politics, because there was a point where she loved Chris Christie to death, and then she didn't. And there have been various points where she loves Donald Trump, and then she doesn't. So, Ann is going to tell you whatever's on her mind and what she actually thinks. Do you think at this point, Ann, that President Trump should simply say, okay, I'll concede the race? It's not going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I don't think, I think the apparent fraud should be looked into, mostly so it doesn't happen again. This has been going on for years and years. I think we deserve a true accounting. I'm dubious that it's going to change the results of the overall election. Trump could have done that by appealing to his base. As we may have discussed last week, there's only one demographic. He increased his share with every demographic group, but white men, yep. i.e. his base. Well, that was through, the genius politicking of Jared Kushner, and that's what you have to do, drive your base up. There were millions of non-college educated white men who didn't vote, who weren't registered to vote. But instead, I was just tweeting out a storm of tweets on an article by David Cole in Talkie magazine that makes the point very aggressively that, at the first debate, Trump goes out and starts attacking Joe Biden for being too tough on crime. Wow, way to read the room. We're in a year where crime is the number one issue other than coronavirus, and there's not anything more I think Trump could have done about coronavirus. But Trump is out there saying, I'm releasing prisoners. You called them super predators. You pushed the crime bill. At the time, we were all tearing our hair out over this.
I know I was.
Trump gave away the Republicans' strongest issue. The two strongest issues for Republicans have always been taxes, or were before Reagan came along, and slash taxes so much, opening up the economy, that since then, when Democrats come in and raise taxes and Republicans come in and lower them, it's only about 4 points apart. We're not going back to the pre-Reagan tax level. So taxes are basically off the table now. It's crime, which in a way, unfortunately, Rudy Giuliani solved for us. Republicans couldn't run on crime anymore because criminals were in prison. We had safe neighborhoods. Hallelujah. So you succeed in solving a problem and then lose that problem as an issue. But guess what? Democrats brought it back for the Republicans this year with the protests, the riots, the BLM, the Antifa, and the Democrats out there calling them peaceful protests. That was the only thing that made me think maybe Trump could win after all, after the past 3 years thinking he was going to lose. And what does he do? He gives the issue away. I'm releasing prisoners.
But you have to have a big enough margin. They warned him going into Pennsylvania. You better be up by 5. You better win plus 5. But here's the thing. If the other side is cheating, and I've told my audience tonight, there's a new report out. Epic Times has it, and I actually have had good experiences with believing what they report. They're saying 51,000 ballots in Pennsylvania were marked as returned one day after they went out by the U.S. Postal Service. And 35,000 were returned on the same day. Oh, I put it in the mail. Ann should have it by this afternoon and bring it back to us. And 23,000 have a return date earlier than the sent date. Now, they know when they send the ballots out. They scan them out. They know when they come back in. They scan them in. If you've got in all totaled about 80,000, almost 100,000 ballots that either get returned the same day or one day later through the amazing U.S. Postal Service, which allows the delivery almost instantly of letters, and then ballots come back the same day. That doesn't make any sense. Now, that is a game changer.
No, I agree, and there are all sorts of things that are just mathematical impossibilities, it seems to me. Particularly the urban areas in the swing states, but not in other states. you suddenly have turnout reaching Saddam Hussein levels of turnout. 93% voting in these, and you did not see, I mean, yes, overall there was an increase in turnout, but you did not see the same increase in turnout, for example, in Miami. Miami was in what was considered a swing state, and yet the turnout was so much higher in Detroit and Milwaukee and Philadelphia. Okay, I'm sorry that you're showing us mathematical patterns suggesting fraud. And I don't think it should be the case that Republicans have to win by 5 points in order for Democrats not to steal the election from them. So, yes, of course this should be looked into. If the way to get it looked into is for Trump to cross his arms and say, I'm not conceding until we have an honest count, then good, let's do it that way. I'm just delighted that Republicans are finally noticing vote fraud.
Well, and that's all I'm saying. I've said it's reasonable to say when the recounts are done, 3 of them at least, when the 10 court challenges are done, if the courts, take this as this needs to be resolved before December 14th and the Electoral College vote, and say, resolve this. Is there an issue here or not? And if there is, then resolve it. Then at that point, when the count is in, the tabulation is done, the canvassing and all the other magic they do, and the court challenges and the recounts, then call it good. I mean, we waited more than a month for that idiot Al Gore to finally concede in the second week of December.
Yes, it's really preposterous for Democrats and the media. No, concede now, concede now. Wow, that was sure not their position on any election they lose.
No, and it does make, anytime somebody's trying to rush it up saying, just call this good, it makes me suspicious that they may have something else going on. That's Ann Coulter. You can find her at anncoulter.com, writes great books, writes great columns, and we always appreciate her insights.